Hey everyone. So for the last week, I've just been working on figuring out this whole screen capture thing, as well as trying to figure out some other video ideas that I wanted to do. Um, and I'm gonna talk about some of those ideas at the end of the video here. But for today, I wanted to just go over three of the most important resources for people with disabilities that I've used, um, and just let you guys know what's out there for these. Um, Now, all three of these are available for each county in Ohio. That's kind of why I picked these. Uh, and in a future video, I may go over some more specific resources for people with disabilities in my area. Um, so the first one here is probably the most important one that I've used personally, uh, the Board of Developmental Disabilities. Now, the Board of Developmental Disabilities does all kinds of things. They mostly connect people with other resources. Um, and typically they do that by giving you someone called an SSA, Service Support uh, Assistant, I believe, and they are basically a mediator or liaison between you and these services. Mostly things like insurance and Medicaid if you're trying to get equipment, um, and they handle a lot of the paperwork and interactions between these companies and just make it a little bit easier to get the services that people need. They interact as well with aid agencies and things like that as well. Now we're gonna just take a look briefly at some of the things that they have on their website here, so that you guys can take a look at it if you think you need it or somebody else that you know might need it. Um, So family and individual supports. This stuff is mostly just on COVID right now. I'm assuming they update these every once in a while um, to kind of give you more information on what's going on at the time. Um, they've got school closure kits, family activities to do during COVID-19, uh, stories about people with disabilities uh, during COVID-19, things like that. Um, so there's that. And then let's go to this part here. Looks like it's just services that are kind of under the Board of DD. So there's Service and Support Administration, Family Support Services, Finance and Administration, and Early Childhood, it looks like here. Um, let's just click on one of these, see where it takes us here. Okay, this looks like it's just some more information on that program here. So, human resources, facilities management. Okay. Um, so there's some really, really good information there. Provider information. This is where you're going to find how to contact um, different service providers if you or someone that you know needs aid services. Um, they have phone numbers and emails for the basically the point people that you're gonna contact um, here, and it goes in alphabetical order for the different companies. For the individual providers, it just goes by name alphabetically, and then they've got day program stuff in case uh, whoever's caring for the person needs to work or something still. They can go to these day programs, uh, and they have services there as well. And then there's just some other information for, I believe it's four providers actually on the left side, and you guys can check those out as well if you want to know how all that works with how agencies um, kind of run themselves and are required to run themselves. Uh, so then there's recreation. They've got some community events that they do. Some of these are for specific ages, um, but looks like they're still holding these as with coronavirus, but that may have changed. It doesn't say on the website here specifically. And then there's links to different uh, Ohio-based websites and services that are mostly throughout Ohio. Several of them are more county to county. Montgomery County is next to Greene County, so that's why this is here. Um, just some things that are based in Greene County, some parts that are in the region, and then Ohio services as well. And then you can get board information if you'd like to take a look at what the board meetings are, um, you'd like to become a member, things like that. And then you can contact the Department of Disabilities here. You can specify if you'd like them to contact you by phone or email. You can request a specific staff member or specific board employee, and then just tell them your situation here. Um, I mostly interacted with them over the phone and email. They've got their phone number here, so if you just want to call them, you can do that as well. Um, so the next one we're going to move to is opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities. And this is based through the Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation. So it's mostly based on helping people with disabilities find jobs. Um, now, once you contact them, they'll typically send out somebody to talk to you, and typically they'll fill out some uh, paperwork in order to get a better idea of your needs, what you can do, what you'd like to focus on for your job search, and just kind of narrow down um, what sort of jobs to look for. And it just makes it easier and quicker to try to find a job. Um, and they were super helpful for me. Um, you know, I had been looking for a job for like 6 months by myself, and um, you know, they were super nice, accommodating, and the whole paperwork process was pretty easy. Um, so, oops, they've got their uh, contact information here, um, other OOD offices that they've got throughout Ohio, and then let's see what this is real quick here. Okay, so they've got the Dayton area manager information here for what's his name, Mark Fay. It looks like. So uh, that's that. Being able to find a job, I think, is huge for people with disabilities trying to be more independent. Uh, you know, having control of your own finances is huge, and it just allows for more freedom. You know, you're able to spend your money on, if you have more money, you're able to spend it on, you know, more things you need or want, and and you know, that's great. So I think being able to help people find jobs that they can do is super important. You know, And being able to work with these people to kind of narrow down what you want to look for is really important because with ADA, a lot of companies are required to um, provide uh, a reasonable amount of accommodation for people. But even then, a lot of times the jobs that are out there aren't geared toward people with disabilities, especially people with like physical disabilities where they might not be able to walk, they have um, motor control issues, things like that, where typing or having to lift things and having a physically um, maybe not intensive but centered job is not ideal for them. So being able to kind of narrow down what you're looking for through the questions that they ask and the paperwork that they do is extremely helpful for that. Now the last one we're going to go over real quick is called the Centers for Independent Living. Um, Now this is the main Ohio website, and here they just kind of give all of the information on all of the centers for independent living that are in Ohio, what centers are where, which counties they serve, things like that. They've got all the phone numbers as well as the websites for those here. Um, and then we're going to go to the Montgomery County and Greene County specific one real quick just to take a look at what they've got there because they have some more specific services listed. Um, so here's just some information on the board and the staff. Um, Here's the contact information for them. Now, I actually called this phone number several times during the pandemic. Has been going on while it's been going on, and I was not able to get a hold of them over the phone. Um, so I don't know if they are actually running during the whole COVID thing. Um, they may not just be answering the phone. Um, so they've got email here though, and you can go and visit if you'd like, if you're in the area here, to try and check that out. Um, let's take a look at the kind of services that they have here. They've got all kinds of stuff for people that are trying to live more independently. Um, so, training services to help people with personal care, coping, financial management, social skills, and household management, advocacy and self advocacy to help people uh, kind of be able to better be more independent and advocate for themselves uh, with uh, different services and things like that they'll need. Peer support, people with disabilities, uh, as a group, kind of helping the newer people get started in this sort of stuff. Um, Referral services and information. They've got also community transitioning for people coming out of nursing facilities or um, kids transitioning into independence in employment and education. So they've got all kinds of stuff like that. Um, and then independent living resources here. They've got a whole website for um, people with cerebral palsy. And I will probably actually start using this resource. Um, so there's that. And then they've got different information on accessibility here. Um, let's see, mental health. Let's see. They've got a group for disability rights. There's some activists here for that. Um, And then let's see, they've got uh, some services for people who are deaf. Um, looks like OOD again. Opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities, maybe. um, let's see. They've got a group for research on independent living. Uh, yeah. So participatory action research, health reform research, business acumen support programs. So that's looks like what they do. And then Kathleen Klein, some information on her. Um, looks like a Washington, PA based independent living center here. It's just a transcript that she wrote if you guys want to check that out. And let's see. So these are mostly just other independent living places around Ohio and the country. There's a national one that you can take a look at. Um, again, opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities um, is here, and then there's a personal care assistance program at the bottom. So, you guys can check that out if you think either you or somebody you know would think any of this would be helpful. Um, I don't know a lot of people's specific situations, so um, it would uh, be more beneficial. I thought just to let you guys know that these resources are out there. If anybody thinks it might be helpful, I can go back through later and take a look more specifically at these uh, services as well. As far as what I'm planning on doing here in the future for videos, I've actually got an opportunity to do an interview with a couple of guys that have experience in making houses accessible. They've, I believe, made over 100 houses and group homes accessible for people with disabilities. So I'm actually going to ask them kind of what their experience has been with that, and then any advice they have for people on making different rooms in houses or buildings more accessible for people. So that's super exciting. I'm really excited to get that started. And then I'm thinking about doing a video on prosthetics. I looked up a bunch of open source prosthetic arms and some more affordable options for that. Planning on looking up some for legs and maybe more specific prosthetics for people like fingers and things like that. Just to get some of that information out there because prosthetics can be pretty expensive. Uh, so being able to find one that's open source and a lot cheaper to make is going to be super helpful for people, I think. Because it's fairly easy to 3D print something like that and put it together. They've got all the instructions on these websites. So there's that. And then I'm thinking about doing a comparison video between my old chair and my new one because the design philosophies behind the two are really, really different, like vastly different. So I'm gonna do a video on that here soon as well. So stay tuned for those. Hopefully they'll be coming out within the next couple weeks. I'm planning on trying to get a video done every week. Um, so far I'm on track for that. uh, if anybody has any suggestions for new videos that I could do or questions, please leave a comment. I'm going to have these websites linked in the description of the video as well. Um, thanks for watching, and hope to see you back here next time.